It's a privilege to moderate this very important session on evolving mobility and emerging opportunities. Today, the Indian automotive industry is at a very interesting crossroad. On one hand, we are seeing strong growth across all segments. On other, we are seeing structural shifts with electrification of vehicles, digital retail, regulatory changes, and evolving customer expectations. At the center of this transformation are three key stakeholders: OEM, dealers, and government. And fortunately, today in room, we have all the three. For this discussion today, we are glad to welcome Mr. Kunal Behl, who serves as the Vice President Marketing and Sales at Honda Cars Limited. He has a rich experience spanning over 2 decades in automotive industry. He brings strong expertise in strategic and operational management in marketing, sales, and after sales. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Sir, as the topic for today is evolving mobility and emerging opportunities, we'll try to structure our discussion around future of mobility, dealer OEM alignment, and new opportunities with alternate fuels. But before we start, I would like to ask you what kind of demand you see in next 2-3 years, especially what do you think about the Rajasthan market as it is growing very fast?
First of all, thank you for having me here. So it's a very right time to ask about the industry growth because we just finished the month of March last month. So overall, the industry at an all-India level has grown by 8%. And the interesting part is Rajasthan growth has been almost 15%, so almost double. That's quite good. But frankly speaking, the industry is being growing back by a couple of things, especially the growth came in the second half. Thanks to Honorable Prime Minister introducing GST 2.0, that has actually helped to pep up the demand. But we also have a very strong macroeconomic tailwind. India is already, the third largest passenger car vehicle industry, and we have the fastest growing economy. The disposable income in India is quite high. It's been improving every year. That all is kind of motivating people to go for personal mobility. One thing very interesting, which I would say, it's not just the volume growth. It is also a value feature growth. Imagine 5 years back, we had the automatic cars only 10 to 15%, and now they've gone as high as 25% across India. Safety, as a little while back, Rashi ma'am was talking about so many accidents happening, So Honda introduced ADAS, which is Honda Sensing across all the models. And I still remember a lot of media friends used to ask me that, how do you think on Indian roads can cars with ADAS run? It'll always be stopping. But today, cars like Honda Elevate, we are having 70% people buying for ADAS. So the point I'm trying to make here is, it's not just the volume growth, it's also value feature growth. Be it the features, be it the advanced features like CVT or the ADAS. So as an industry is growing, and so are the aspirations for the normal people. Rajasthan, again, the very important aspect, I think all our dealer friends are sitting here. When we see at head office the industry of all India, tier 3 markets contribute to about 44% across India, but Rajasthan has 64% contribution coming from tier 3. So, which actually gives a very strong indication that in Rajasthan, the market is quite scattered. It is quite homogeneously present, and which is a very healthy sign for any state. And the growth is mainly not just coming from SUV, but also from sedan, and that's a very impressive point.
Great, sir. Good to see the growth story of India doing very well. You know that, due to the ongoing geopolitical situation in the Middle Eastern region, there is a lot of uncertainty in minds of dealers as well as customers. How do you see that impacting the auto industry or the supply chain for Honda cars or industry in general?
Yeah, I was expecting this question. So basically, the recent disturbances of West Asia, that's creating a lot of disturbance. As of now, I don't see we have a big supply constraint, but going forward, definitely there's a lead time, so there could be some supply issues. But very frankly, Sourabh-san, how we look at it is, it's a big opportunity. So for example, a lot of geopolitical situation which has happened, a lot of manufacturers, even Honda and other OEMs, I'm sure, a lot of suppliers, their focus is shifting from having global dependence to regional resilience. So as India, as one reason, how can we, bounce back? That is very important, which also signifies a lot of manufacturing base being shifted to India. Make in India, Atmanirbhar is something probably you will actually see coming on cards now. And because this is not just which happened recently, we also had war of Russia-Ukraine. So I would say geopolitical conflicts or they're not temporary ones, they are the new normal baseline. And in corporate sector, we always used to speak about VUCA, and now the new term is change, is BANI. BANI stands for B is brittle. You may look that industry is very strong, but even small thing can, break. That's called fragility. A stands for you're anxious. Too much of data, too much of information also leads to a lot of decision paralysis. And I is again very, very different, which is basically, it's called non-linear. So especially this war which taught us is that small impact can actually make big, big impact on the consumers, on the OEMs, or even on the dealers. So what I'm trying to make here is that we as OEMs and of course dealers and of course the government side, we all need to be prepared for this. This is probably going to keep coming on and off. As India, we need to be more Atmanirbhar is what we believe.
That's great. I'll come to the EV topic now. Since you spoke that, the market in Rajasthan is quite scattered and, vehicle sales is spread across tier 2, tier 3 cities also. How do you see EV getting adopted, especially in these tier 2, tier 3 cities in the country as a whole or Rajasthan as a state specific?
So EV, a lot of people keep talking on EV. So interestingly, EV last year was about 2.8% and now it has gone to 4.2 at an all-India level. So industry sold 200,000 cars. But again, interestingly, Rajasthan, it was actually 2.5 and now they are at 5%. So there's almost a double growth coming up, which is quite good. But does it mean that we are really nice in Rajasthan? I don't think so, because in different states, the penetration level is very different. A state like Telangana has 12% passenger vehicle EV penetration. That's very high. Then we have states like Delhi NCR and Kerala, which is about 8%. We have Maharashtra and Karnataka, which is at 6%. So the point to note here is what makes such difference variance. Now, I'll give you a very small, interesting data point. In India, we have about, if my figures are right, 29,000 charging points, which primarily means that for every 100,000 people, there are about 2 chargers, which is quite low. But interestingly, if you look at states like Telangana or Maharashtra or Karnataka, for every 100,000 people, they have 9 chargers, maybe 6 or maybe 7, which probably is one of the key reasons why adoption is faster in these places. And on that matter, Rajasthan as a state has very less, just 1 charger for every 100,000. So as you rightly said, that since tier 3 penetration in Rajasthan is so high, I believe if OEMs and if government and dealers, they collectively work and we can have a lot of chargers put up in every 50 kilometers, the adoption would be much faster, is what I believe.
Okay, that's great. So in a way, in fact, what I understand from you and also the press that, Honda is going to be bringing a pure EV very soon in the country. And fortunately, we have the administrative machinery here already. You kind of partly answered my next question already by saying that our charger penetration is very less. But do you think, you can, as an OEM, you can put up a certain set of requests or certain set of understanding where state government can work to improve the EV penetration in Rajasthan, maybe as high as 12%, which is happening in Telangana?
So we have a very close relationship with Rajasthan. It's a home manufacturing. And I still remember in the year September 24, Honorable Chief Minister, he's not here, so Honorable Chief Minister made a request. He went to Japan, to Honda headquarters, and he made a request that you should manufacture EV in Rajasthan. And we can very proudly say that we have started manufacturing of EV and very soon we'll be launching it. So the Honda's EV, first mass electric vehicle, is made in Rajasthan, made for the world. When I say that, we're going to be exporting it to various countries, so which is a very powerful thing, and I would really, express my gratitude to the entire ministry who's really helped us on that. But definitely, as Sourabh you asked, there are a lot of things which we can help to improve the penetration, and what thing comes to my mind, the first is, we already spoke about penetration. So we just have 1 charger for 100,000 people, and I believe that in Rajasthan, solar power is in abundance, And I just recently read that the ministry has given 1.5 lakh solar powered pumps to farmers so that they cannot depend on the rain. So if we can have that concept on chargers, where you have solar powered EV chargers, and they develop a fast corridor of every 50 kilometers having a charger like that, that's point number one. It will really help, and that would really need support from the ministry. The second important point here is, like Maharashtra, we have green meters. So for example, if you want to buy an EV, you don't have to depend upon the normal charger or a normal meter. You have a green meter, which has a little lower EV tariff, and it also varies on the time when you use. So for example, as a user, if you need in the night, the charger would be less, the tariff would be less. So that's again a very powerful policy, and it actually motivates people to go for an EV. So that's point number second. Point number three is Rajasthan has, I think, 4 scrapping centers. So over in all India, I think that penetration is still good, but if we can have a scrapping bonus, if somebody scraps his ICE car and shifts to EV, you have a special bonus on that. That's also another point. Another thing that comes to mind, which is very important, is I see a lot of banks being a partner of this event. Why can't we have a special, subsidy or a special kind of a loan subvention for people who are going to go for EV as a first-time buyers? Why I'm saying it is because right now, mostly EV buyers are additional buyers. They are not replacement buyers, they are not first-time buyers. So if we can make it more affordable to the people, and if the charging structure is available, I'm sure the adoption to EV would be very quick. So I think I made a couple of requests, but yes, I think if we want to reach to that level of 10% penetration in Rajasthan, it's going to be a combined effort. And of course, none of the efforts can get fruits till the time we have the help from the government.
Oh, that's great. A lot of new ideas around improving the EV penetration there. Before we end, I would like to come back to, since it's a dealer event and we have a lot of auto dealers here. I would like you to state one thing. What do you think is one big opportunity for dealers, auto dealers as a whole, for any brand in next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, so a lot of things are there. I mean, I can speak an hour for this, but I'll keep it short. So basically, the first biggest opportunity here is that you have to focus on life cycle business rather than having, just one sale. Sourabh, you're a very old dealer, so you would know earlier people used to sell once in a year and probably once or twice a service a year. That's all. So now you have to work on monetization models where you track a customer for the entire life cycle. So life cycle of a customer or a win, for example, the car, not just the customer, is for 10 to 15 years, depending upon the powertrain. It actually depends on you, how nicely you can be engaged with that win or with that customer and try to monetize. With the growing EV structure, I'm sure the service revenues for dealers will go down. So you have to protect yourself, and you cannot depend upon sales or service, but you need to have various other ways of making money. And it could be accessories, it could be finance, it could be insurance, it could be data monetization. The biggest asset, which I think the four-wheeler dealers are selling today here, is the data. You have so much of digital data which never used to be there earlier. So now, because of so much of mobile applications, IT systems, some from the OEM, some from the dealers themselves, it's high time that you start reading these data and start trying to monetize them. That's very important. And also, the normal question that comes is about profitability. I think dealer profitability is not just dealership's responsibility, it's a shared responsibility of an OEM as well as the dealers. And this data part, which is the digital data, plays a key role. So if I have to say one-liner, I would say definitely you need to all shift to the life cycle business. That's very critical, as the Bani word will keep coming. So we need to be prepared ourselves.
That's great. So a lot of interesting thoughts by Kunal-san on the EV penetration. I think while all the way I knew that, Honda started manufacturing EV in state of Rajasthan, but I think this was an eye-opener for me that Honda is making EVs in Rajasthan for the world, and we will be soon seeing a lot of export of EVs from Rajasthan. Thanks, Kunal-san. Thanks for that interesting session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.